Russell Beard in the Sea of Cortez, Mexico, to explore the future of fish farming.
And I'm Gilary Darabi in Kapama Park, South Africa, where a specialist team of conservationists are fighting back against rhino poachers.
Our global appetite for fish is increasing at such a rate that some experts predict that within 50 years, there could be a total collapse of all the fisheries that we currently rely on. And even though roughly a third of the seafood we eat is farmed, the majority of aquaculture takes place inland or in shallow coastal waters, often polluting local ecosystems with herbicides, antibiotics, and fish waste. I'm Russell Beard, and I've come to Mexico's Baja Peninsula to meet a marine engineer who hopes to herald an environmentally friendly future for fish farming.
Ahoy! Hola, hola. I'm Pablo, nice to meet you.
Hi, Russell. Steve.
We're heading across the bay to the north to a place called San Juan de la Costa. That's where the farm is.
After years of working as an environmental compliance officer at a shallow water fish farm in the USA, Steve Page had a crisis of conscience.
Back in 2003, I was working at a salmon farm. But when I saw how much organic matter was on the bottom of the ocean and just piled very deep, I realized that that was not a sustainable model. Either I was going to get out of aquaculture or I was going to find out a more sustainable way to do it. And to me, the only way to do that was to go offshore. Deep water, stronger currents, and more spread out. There it comes.
Here it is. I thought I saw something beneath the surface there. Here it is. It looks like something out of a Jules Verne science fiction novel. Ready?
Submerged deep below the surface when in operation and anchored well offshore, these giant structures known as aquapods can reach up to 20 meters in diameter and house up to 70,000 fish. They're built to withstand storms and damage from predators like sharks and seals, reducing the risk of fish escaping and upsetting local ecosystems. Their spherical shape gives the illusion of endless space. Like most farms, the livestock need to be fed, but the benefit of this deep water operation is that any uneaten food and fish waste is dissipated by strong ocean currents.
Seriously, man, that was ridiculous. What have you created? You total madman. It's bonkers. Is this the future of fish farming?
I think so.
Yeah, truly.
This is where it's going.
Yeah.
The oceans are in real trouble. The wild fish harvests are static. They're not going to increase. A lot of species have been fished out. We've got to learn how to farm the ocean.
To find out more about how overfishing is affecting La Paz, we tracked down a local marine ecologist and activist, Alberto Guillem Gadarama. He works with Sea-Watch, a conservation NGO, and wanted to show us the local fish market.
Antes el tamaño del pez era más grande, ahora cada vez son más pequeños.
What's this?
Mantarraya no es permitida.
Okay.
It's a problem, really problem.
Okay.
But in the La Paz is very demand in the people.
Because why? It tastes good. It tastes good. That's unfortunate for the manta ray.
Vivo aquí desde hace 22 años y he trabajado con gente que vive de la pesca y sé lo difícil que es para ellos conseguir el dinero a través de la pesca. El pescado cerca de La Paz se termina, cada vez tienen que ir más lejos por el pescado.
About 6 years ago, a new, much more devastating method of mass killing was introduced that has totally stripped the reefs between La Paz and Loreto of the larger reef fish not already caught in the nets. This method utilizes hookah divers working at night with spear guns. These divers are called pistoleros.
With a simple hose pipe and air compressor, these pistoleros can spend up to 8 hours underwater at a time.
Que acaban con todo. El impacto es que van limpiando zonas. Cuando hay más pistoleros, menos tiempo dan a que se recupere, pero si no dejamos que se recupere, o si tiempo atrás capturamos todos los juveniles, próximos 6 meses no hay más pescado. He conocido negocios, o bueno, personas que tenían negocios de buceo y cerraron porque ya no había nada que ver. Este año, el torneo de dorado, no hubo dorado.
Legendary ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau once described the Sea of Cortez as the aquarium of the world. But that wave has since broken. The marine life, fishing boats and tourists have all but vanished, leaving La Paz feeling like an abandoned theme park. But with the end of an era comes the start of the next. Steve and his team hope that with their aquapods, farming the ocean might offer a lifeline for fishing communities and reef ecologies facing a similar fate.
We've come down to try and find a hatchery that Steve hopes one day will be producing the little fingerlings, which they will then seed those big aquapods with, and that's really going to close the loop and hopefully make their operation totally sustainable.
Welcome to Pizza Link.
High security.
These warm water species grow a lot quicker. They're active year-round. You're not affected so much by water temperature. And I think that's where a lot of the future in aquaculture is going to happen with this warm water marine species that we're experimenting with now.
This is basically a stud farm for fish. These are the happiest fish in La Paz right now, are they? Yeah.
Once abundant in the Sea of Cortez, these endemic totoba are now critically endangered.
These guys are priceless for us. So our idea is to produce commercially and eventually help with stock enhancement.
Once mature, each of these broodstock can produce in excess of 3 million eggs.
We need half of that for production, and the other half we can do a trade-off, release them back in the wild.
Wow.
Restocking.
Wow.
Yeah. We've got to learn how to farm the ocean. And we've got to learn how to do it in a way that goes beyond sustainable. I really think about restorative. How can we restore the wild stocks in the ocean? And one of the ways to do that is to take the pressure off by farming the fish. You know, I love diving. You know, I love getting in there with the fish, and I think the farmer always has to be in with the animals at some point. It's kind of a magical feeling. I always imagine a cathedral, you know, with the big arching roof up above you. And human beings changed from hunter-gatherers to farmers 5,000 years ago on land. That same transition is going to happen in several generations in the ocean. That's going to change fisheries forever.
Seventy 70% of the world's rhino population lives here, in South Africa. But each year, hundreds of rhinos are lost to poachers who kill them for their valuable horns. The horns are hacked off, smuggled abroad, and then sold on, usually as traditional remedies. Despite increased security measures, 2013 was the worst year yet for rhino poaching. I'm Gilary Darabi here in South Africa's Kapama Reserve, where a team of conservationists are fighting back by spoiling the poachers' bounty. The Rhino Rescue Project is a specialist team of conservationists with an innovative idea to combat rhino poachers. I'm standing by with Lorinda Hearn, who heads the project as the team helicopter scouts the 13,000 hectares of the Kapama Reserve in search of the day's first rhino. It's amazing.
The helicopter has indicated that they found an animal. The dart's gone in, so we are now racing against the clock to get to this animal in time. You don't want it to be down for too long before you start the procedure.
There he is, there he is. The Rhino Rescue Project's goal is to spoil the horn for poachers. With the rhino sedated, holes can be drilled into its horns, a painless procedure for the animal. Then a set of valves are attached. The valves are connected to a pressure pump, which infuses the horn with the dye. What is particular about this dye?
It's the same kind of dye that's used in the banking and cash and transit industry to stain stolen banknotes. So you can't bleach it, burn it, chemically remove it. Once it's in this horn, it's basically ruined for any kind of ornamental use.
What about ingesting and using it for medicinal purposes?
The cocktail that we infuse along with the dye is 100% safe for the animal, but toxic to humans if they were to ingest it. So it serves a dual purpose.
The internal structure of a rhino horn is made of tiny fibrous keratin channels, so the dye will rapidly infuse the entire horn. The team also collect DNA samples from horn shavings and tail hair, as well as inserting microchips into both horns and the animal's body.
67.
67.
That's it.
A large rhino horn can sell for close to $500,000 US on the black market. Its value is so high that even dehorning rhinos isn't enough to protect the animals from poachers.
Often we found that where farmers have dehorned their animals, those animals still get poached because the most weight, of course, lies in this bottom part of the horn, and that's how it gets sold. They take whatever they can, and that's why sometimes you even lose calves in poaching incidents, because even though the calf only has a small horn, it's so extremely valuable that they're willing to kill them just for that.
Although it looks very dramatic, the red pinkish liquid oozing out is the dye itself, it's not blood.
I just wanted to show you this from your procedure actually. So that is untreated horn material, and then once it's been treated it goes this pinkish kind of color, and if you smell it you can smell that there's quite a strong
Chemically smell.
That's it.
If a human ingests a horn that has been treated, what happens to them?
Mild symptoms, headaches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. More severe symptoms, convulsions and potential nervous symptoms. So it can get quite severe. So that's $60,000 per kilo on the black market.
That's nothing, nada.
That's it.
So that's the whole point.
That's the point, horn devaluation. If we can remove the value from the horn, we can vest it back in the live animal where it belongs.
Sorry guys, I'm going to cut you short.
Yes.
Okay guys, can you move back to your vehicles please?
Thank you. When the infusion is complete, the team administers a fast-acting antidote to the tranquilizer. Now, it's known that when the rhino wakes up, its settling snaps and it charges. That's why we've got to get out of the way, because this could be a very dangerous time. All right, here we go.
Okay. Hi.
The Rhino Rescue Project is a not-for-profit organization which has been traveling across South Africa in a race against time to treat as many animals as they can. The demand for animal parts is increasing steadily, and so is the damage it's inflicting. In 2011, West Africa's black rhino was poached to the point of extinction.
The trade in animal parts devastates and it decimates species. If we throw rhinos under the bus and we're willing to just let them go, it will be an eternal shame to the human race. It's our duty to take care of the problem.
There's two of them, 2 rhinos. As we approach the next tranquilized rhino, the team needs to chase its calf away, which has not been tranquilized and may charge.
You see that they gently slap it on the bun first to see whether the anesthetic has indeed worked. This is a very big horn, but she is a beautiful rhino. Look at that face from here, and that horn. It looks almost prehistoric, doesn't it?
It does, it really does.
They are so docile and they are so gentle and they can hardly even see evil. They are the sweetest things.
They're having a hard time convincing this mother to just rest for a while they do the procedure. She's worried about her calf. Very understandable. Oh. You know, it's so amazing to be so close and to see the horn and to think this right here is causing huge international trade and so many problems.
And it's based on a complete myth, the myth that this horn contains some sort of medicinal value, when really it's essentially no different to your own fingernails. And then, of course, one of the most famous myths that it actually cures cancer is completely bogus.
Does the whole crisis just baffle you?
It does, but obviously it's more disturbing than it is baffling, because we are literally hemorrhaging animals.
How often do you hear that there's been poachers on the land? Is it something you're
basically
hearing more
a
and more?
daily thing?
Really?
Yes, for this area. They're killing more than the number of females that can produce calves per year. Yeah, because I don't think people understand how serious it is with the rhinos.
When Rhino Rescue Project first approached you, with the helicopters and the tranquilizers, what did you first think?
Once we understood what the process entails, we really thought it was going to work. These guys try and make a difference. Yeah.
The treatment of the rhino horns may be spoiling the poacher's bounty, but for Lorinda's plan to work, word needs to get out. Hello. Hi, I'm Guillory.
Albinel.
Nice to meet
meeting
you. What's going on here?
Guillory, this is basically the sign that we're putting up on the fence line. And it says, warning, rhino horns on this property are contaminated with toxins and should not be handled or consumed by humans. And then most important is this picture down here for people that cannot read. It's a clear picture. There's a rhino, there's the horn, it's red, there's poison. If you touch it, you're touching the red and it's dangerous. So if they just come in to drive past and see, are there perhaps rhinos, they'll immediately see the signage and they'll say there's a bigger risk than normal, because we have a risk of being shot, and then at the end of the day they cannot use the horns.
So this works really well in conjunction with the work you've already been doing for many years.
Yes, but this is another tool that's assisting us to make it the rhino horn not lucrative for the poachers.
I think you're going to reach the top ones better than I am. I see here it's been translated into an Asian language. Which one is that?
It's Mandarin Chinese, because according to information, that's where the most rhino horns are going to the Asian countries, and I think that's also to warn the end consumer.
How would the consumer have the opportunity to see this sign? If they are, in China or Vietnam or wherever?
With the organized crime syndicates that are involved, they'll be investigating this. You can be sure that they're going to take a picture, send it away.
So this poster isn't just for the area. You're really hoping this goes worldwide.
The more people who can take notice of this, the better at the end of the day.
Albie wanted to take me to the Hudsprid Center for Endangered Species, where the impact of poachers is all too visible.
Poachers came in, they chemically immobilized the animals. They cut off the horns. Another animal died due to wounds and due to the drug. It was horrific to see them and to find them in the state which we had found them. They were cutting the horns off in the sinus. It was open for maggots to everything to come in. It's sad to have the animal mutilated like this, yeah.
Would you say the poachers' techniques are becoming more sophisticated?
Most definitely. There's no doubt that there's lots of money and lots of brain power and lots of equipment and specialized equipment that they are also using. The fact that we are using thermal night vision equipment, we can be sure that poachers are using it also to make sure that they do their job, and their job is to try and kill our rhinos.
And it's not just rhinos that poachers are after. Recent years have seen a surge in animal poaching for both the trophy and traditional medicine markets. Wildlife crime now ranks among trafficking in drugs, arms, and human beings in terms of profit, and is threatening an increasing number of species, including our own.
I just see two guys coming out of my face and didn't give me any chance. They start to shoot at me. When they shoot, then I take a cover as quickly as possible, but that bullet, the round, hit my two-way radio.
It hit your radio?
Yes. Other people coming from different countries, they come here to see these animals. And the more they come here, they make our economy in this country to grow. So if people come and kill this rhino, it's like they're destroying our country. That's why we're trying our best to protect these animals.
Apparently rhinos like a good scratch behind their ear. This is their soft spot. So I've been given the task of official ear scratcher. I don't mind. The final step of the treatment is to seal the holes with special putty and wrap up the horns with duct tape. After a couple of days, the tape will come off, and the treated rhinos will be indistinguishable from the untreated ones.
Because you can't see which ones have been treated or not, it creates an element of doubt in the mind of the poacher. They don't know if they're going to take that risk to come onto a property and shoot an animal and then not be able to do anything with the horn.
What kind of results have you seen?
We've had unbelievable success in terms of being an anti-poaching measure. These properties tend to be avoided and the poaching shifts elsewhere. If the poaching shifts, we get to treat more and more animals until eventually we don't have to. I'm well aware that the efforts of this small group of people isn't going to be the end to rhino poaching, but hopefully we can make a meaningful enough contribution. But really, if you look at where we started, where our goal was just to try and protect one animal, where we are on a total of close to 300, it's still a drop in the ocean, but to us it's an absolute triumph.
This place is a new hope for them. They can make this place as a home.
If they are breaking the rules, we want to catch them early and get them out. So, and as we're not allowed to inspect ourselves on the ground, well, we can send a drone over.